Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tamara and I am a new flower farmer here in southern Wisconsin. We are zone 5A, and today I thought I would take you on a little garden tour of what we've got going on our property. So we currently grow on about 1/8 of an acre. We've got 5 70-foot beds and then some other things happening around the property. Up at the house, I've got about 1,000 sunflowers that are going to go into this bed right here tomorrow, which is the 18th of June. And then they should be ready in about 3 or 4 weeks. And then I've been succession planting those, and I've got another succession to do. I've got some Excel going, and I think I've got some Brilliance which is a little bit more yellow. Over the next couple of weeks, I'll start sowing some of the whites and some of the reds and some of the bicolors. But for now, I like to start out with that introductory classic sunflower. So that's what's going in the field tomorrow. Up at the house, I also have some starts for a few things that didn't make it in the field. Just like everybody else across the country, we have had a very wonky spring. It got super hot in April. We got really excited, planted a whole bunch of things, then I got super wet and super cold. So I've resown the basil. I've done some more zinnia, which they have actually popped back and recovered. And then there's a few other things that I have, phlox that have been started up at the house. In the basement, we've also got probably 12 trays of biennials. I have started foxglove and I've had several varieties of that. And then I'm also doing Canterbury Bells and Sweet William. Right here next to me, we're going to mow and till and establish those beds here. And then they will overwinter, and then next year around this time, hopefully I will have some biennials that will fill and bridge this gap that is happening between my spring perennials and my annuals. So at the house, I experimented with pinching back some garden phlox. Now, we were really blessed when we moved into this space. It was actually something that really attracted us to this house and this property. The house is old and kind of small for our needs, but the lawn, the garden, all of the established perennials are gorgeous. And so we really lucked out that the woman who had lived here prior was an avid gardener. She was a master gardener, and I believe she had a degree in horticulture. So we have some amazing little treasures that we have found throughout the years. One of them is an amazing garden phlox. And so it's established all throughout the property. So this year I took a patch and I cut it down probably a few weeks ago. I wanted to see if I could create a succession type planting and also create some smaller stems. Last year we had really big heads of garden phlox, which are beautiful, but for bouquet arranging, they don't really work. So I can see that it is starting to branch in several locations. So I'm hoping that works. If it does, I will probably continue to do that in years to come. Alrighty, let's get to the tour. So one of the things that is still blooming, which I'm very impressed with, is my lupin. Again, these are some really established plants, probably 4 or 5 years, and they continue to produce stems. Really beautiful. I'm starting to notice on one plant that we do have some aphid infestation, so I'm actually leaving that and hoping that they just stay there and not spread to everything else, but we'll see. I haven't noticed any aphids on anything else yet. We're gonna probably move some things around. We're redesigning this space. It's actually a pretty big space. I would say it's about 70 feet by 50 feet. We have some plans to establish perennial rows here. So some of those are going to stay and they're just going to be reestablished elsewhere. So in this bed, there's a few things that I wanted to save. There's some Baptisia. It's a really beautiful light blue color, but it's starting to phase out. It's gorgeous. Later in the fall though, these get a little bit woodier, and then you can cut them. They're like a false eucalyptus. They're really pretty. The primrose, evening primrose, I think that's what this is. We'll probably move it to here because it doesn't really work as a cut flower, but in our pollinator garden, we have a bunch of stuff. So I think it'll work perfectly there. And then there's some other things as they come up. We'll kind of decide where they go. I think this is garden phlox. We've got some daylilies here. So this space is about 25 by 25. this is what we've left for the pollinator garden. You can see some milkweed coming up. A lot of the same stuff that's established elsewhere. It's just that these we're gonna let open up and bloom. We've got some Wisconsin native prairie flowers. I'm not exactly sure what this is, but we have it in this very light purple, and then there's also a pink, and it's very stunning. They've gotten extremely tall. I would say that's about 3.5 feet, 4 feet here. So everything is super lush. I've been coming in here, picking out all of the weeds. Okay, so now we're in the cut flower section. We've got our 5 beds that have landscape fabric. We've got a bed right here that really needs to be weeded, but this is where our dahlias are. So here I ordered 1 dahlia, creme de cassis, and that is the original like set of tubers. I was able to take 9 cuttings, which I need to pinch. And if you can see them, they are doing actually really, really well. So once I come through here and weed all this, I actually have some other starts and some other tubers that were given to me by my sister-in-law. So I'm gonna pluck them in. I'm gonna put them in between these 2 larger dahlias, and then that will be about a foot apart, and then they'll be about 18 inches apart in the center. I think that's gonna be fine for dahlias this year. I'm gonna work on the spacing, but I think they'll do just fine. Here you see that I have like pinched the center out, and now it's shot up these side branches. You're starting to see more on the second level as well. And so that, instead of this one center coming up, now we've got 4 or 6 different locations. So that's the benefit of pinching. I've got Cafe au Lait, I've got Cornell Bronze, and then a few other ones up at the house. So behind me here, the Cosmos are doing really, really good. They're actually getting to the point where we need to start staking them. We've just purchased, well, we purchased over the winter a really, really cool tool that I'm hopefully gonna do a video on in order to stake these guys. So I'm really excited for that, but it really needs to happen soon, especially with the zinnias as well. They're getting pretty tall. I know snapdragons need to be staked, strawflower. So we've got a lot of work to do this weekend. I've got Cupcake Blush, Afternoon White, Bicolor, and Rubenza, and it's already starting to bloom. So I really struggled this year with Bells of Ireland. The ones that did come through are doing well, but I think it's just gonna probably get too hot for these guys, but I do hope to get a couple stems off of them just to see what they look like. We've got some anise hyssop that's starting to bloom. This is a perennial, so this actually might be moved over to our section where we're establishing the perennial beds. This is one of my favorites. It was actually a free seed from Redemption Seeds. It's white mignonette, and it is just doing outstanding. It looks like it's starting to bud up already. I'm so excited to see what this looks like. We've got 4 types of celosia. This celosia is Sunday Gold. Then we've got terracotta down at the end. I think we have Supercrest. And that's this one here. Oh, so this one here is Pompous Plume. They actually were throwing up buds, but I pinched these back. So it does set them back a couple weeks, but you'll get multiple stems, and I'm super excited. So this one's Pompous Plume, and then I know down here we've got Supercrest, which I'm also really, really excited to see. Such a bad angle. Okay, I am absolutely obsessed with amaranth. I know people say that. The color on this is outstanding. It is a green, purple. Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. I am so excited to see what this looks like. Also got Hot Biscuits. This one is Red Spike. I was concerned about the red spike foliage because I didn't really like it in the pictures that I saw, but this looks stunning in real life. I've got some Hibiscus Mahogany Splendor. This has grown a bit, but it's not getting as big as I thought it would. So here we've got some calendula not doing very well. This did not take at all. These are my asters. I've restarted those, so I'll come back through, clean all the weeds out, and then come and put those back, and they should have plenty of time. Here we've got some yarrow that's coming up. Phlox is another one that didn't do so great in terms of taking, but the ones that did take are gorgeous. This is Dolce de Leche. Actually gonna pinch that out right now. Phlox needs to be pinched several times before you can get usable stems. And then I see that this one has opened as well, and it's gorgeous, and this is the Cherry Brandy. Just stunning. Rebecca was also another one that didn't take, but the ones that did are doing great. I've got Cherokee Sunset, Cherry Brandy, and Indian Summer. Those I've started at the house as well. Here's Gomphrena. I'm gonna pick these out. I always keep forgetting to see if Gomphrena needs to be pinched, but I'm gonna pinch these centerpieces out. This is Raspberry Cream, and it is so cute. Strawflower was going strong, and it's starting to die out here. So I don't have any more of that started, but hopefully we'll get a good show for what is coming through. Snapdragons, super late start. I made a mistake. I planted a bunch of these, and then I realized the tarp wasn't tight. By the time I pulled it over, all the plants were underneath, and I was just so sick of doing it that I just let them die. Isn't that terrible? But everything that's coming up looks great. I've pinched these, so now we've got multiple stems, tons of branching. I think that they're gonna be pretty awesome. This is just the Liberty Mix, something I got from the local garden center. Nothing special, but I'm excited to see. I had such a hard time germinating snapdragons. Status is doing wonderfully. I've got the formula mix and the pastel mix. This section really doesn't get a whole lot of light. So I'm very impressed that they are doing as well as they are doing. Basil I've got started at the house again. Mrs. Burns lemon basil kind of pulled through, but everything else did not do that great. So here we've got lovely Saponaria. This is an early flower. I think it's still doing well because it's so cool, but I'm pretty sure as the temperatures increase, it's gonna fizzle out. Pennycrest is doing well. That should be ready to pick from in, I don't know, a week or so. It only takes 60 days, so that's a really fast crop. Bupleurum was another tough one. I believe that's what that is. I'm not sure. Again, this is a cool flower. I'm not sure if any of that will come up now that we're projected to have 80s and 90s. Stock, again, my timing was really off with some of these, so I'll have to work on that next year. Lupin, I'm going to try to transfer that this fall to the perennial bed that's going over in this section because those are perennials. Dusty Miller, I'm not really exactly sure what you do with that, but I planted the Dusty Miller because I do have two friends' weddings that I'm doing this fall, one in September and one in late October. They're really laid back, easygoing brides, and so that was kind of an experiment of something that we could maybe throw in on the table displays. This, I love this. This is Chocolate Lace Flower, otherwise known as Dara. It's coming up. It looks like carrots. It's part of the carrot family. I still have to come through here and weed again, but this stuff I think is going to be awesome, and it's going to get really big. Here we've got our zinnias. Some of them are the Benary Giants. They're the ones here. They need to get staked as well. And then some of them are the Lilliput, and some of them are Queen Lime. And then I believe there is another variety. Oh, Oklahoma is in here as well. I've also started a bunch of other zinnias to come and fill in some of these gaps. And also, I'll probably plant them in this. This has nothing. These are all just weeds. So I'll probably come and do a second succession of those. This is Carmine, and it is beautiful. I believe these are the Zinderella Peach, and they are just lovely. I've been cutting these back, and now the stems are finally getting super long. This has some dapple light and filtered light as well, so not great for zinnias. They really do love a lot of sun. This is the Lilliput mix. It's got some great colors. And then here's my ranunculus. Those got started so late. These probably have another 6 weeks before they're even thinking about blooming. 6 weeks will put us in the middle of July, and I just don't think that they will love that heat. So lots of lessons to be had for next year, but to at least see a few things pop up just to get that color palette and to see what we'll be working with next year. These are Chinese forget-me-nots. They look like they're opening up. But again, cool season flower, not their cup of tea. Dianthus is another one. So this is the Chabot series. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I've got some Chabot La France, Mary Chabot. They're doing really, really good, but again, a perennial. So I'll either have to restart these and put them in the perennial bed or just try to dig these up at the end of the year. The last thing is this Sweet Annie. It is gorgeous. Now this can get up to 8 feet tall. So that's why I put it at the end of the garden, but it smells fantastic. You want to wait till this is a little bit woodier. These stems are a little bit flappy at this point. So it'll be several more months, but so that is it. That is the garden tour. I know it doesn't seem like a whole lot now, but things are just starting to bud up. Like I said, this has been an incredibly bizarre spring. And then as a first-year flower farmer, there's just some things that I did not do right. So I'm taking diligent notes. I'm trying to note variety and color. Like I wouldn't, like next year, I definitely would not be planting the Lilliput mix right now. There's too many reds, oranges, that probably will look better in fall bouquets than they will in spring or early summer. So I'm just taking notes of things like that and just trying to be really cognizant. I'm also looking around and seeing when we have some yarrow over here that's kind of been overwintered and probably self-seeded from the previous owner. And I'm just trying to take note of when that's budding and then referring back to the plant guidelines and sowing guidelines and trying to get those aligned so that I have things growing correctly in our zone. I know that there's not a whole lot of growth, but I do think in the next couple weeks as the weather starts to warm up and we really get a lot of sun, these things are going to explode. I'm very excited for that. And I'm just happy to see what these varieties look like, timing and all of that stuff. I'm taking notes. I'm taking notes of weather patterns. I'm taking notes of sowing times. I'm taking notes of heat lovers, cool flowers, what's going right, what's going wrong, shady parts in the garden, shady parts of the garden, and just trying to get an idea. So I think the next video I'm going to start sketching out this entire space. The perennial garden is going to be out here. I think we can get 5 beds in here. The total will be about a 1/4 acre. We'll have about 24 50 to 70 foot beds. So yeah, I'm excited for next year, but also excited to see everything in full bloom later on this year as well. So I'm excited to make some bouquets. We're going to be making a farm stand that's going to go near our road. We're going to be using one of our contraptions to do some staking over here, which will make everything look really lovely and really beautiful. My husband is finally back from out of town, so we can really start to dig our teeth in and really start getting into the nitty-gritty of things that need to get done around the property and especially in this little flower farm here. So thank you so much for sticking around. I hope to do another tour in about 4 weeks. Hopefully we're exploding with growth and beauty, and I just can't wait. So thank you so much for sticking around, for hanging out with me today, and for having an interest in all of the things that we're doing here. I did this in every video, but I really do feel like I feel at home. I feel so good on something that I truly enjoy, and that sets my soul on fire. And I am so grateful and so thankful for you to be here joining me in that journey. So we will see you on the next video. Have a fantastic day.